Okay, Assalamualaikum again. Peace to all. Okay, this will be, I hope this time will be very clear for all to see. This will be another spider prime pattern of the Quran. So from my earlier two videos regarding the spider prime pattern of the Quran, we already know so many prime pattern that can be created. Awesome 20 digits prime pattern that can be created from the only spider verse of the Quran, okay, alone. Okay, from the only verse with the only two words spider of the Quran, okay, we are able to create so many prime pattern. Maybe you can try experiment them for yourself. You can find even more right in front of your nose. So now let's discuss a bit regarding this spider verse again. So first of all, the spider verse itself is verse 2941. Okay, I will read. I hope you can see it. I make it as big as possible this time. The only spider verse of the Quran is once again verse 2941, or chapter 29, the spider, verse 41. This will also be the 3381st verse from start of Quran. And the ABJAD value of the word spider itself, exactly like the chapter name or the two-word spider of the Quran, is exactly 579. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to arrange in order. Okay, that means chapter 29 verse 41, or simply verse 2941. Okay, I'm going to make use of this prime factor calculator, 20 digits. It's very easy to get in the internet. So I'm going to put 2941 first. 2941. So this verse 2941 is also the 3381 verse from start of the Quran. So I'm going to put 3381, and of course followed by the value of the words, abjad value of the word spider itself. Makes perfect sense. 579. So will this be a prime? Yes, this will be a prime. So we just, for the second one, we just reverse the 3381 verse of the Quran, 3381 verse of the Quran, which is also verse 2941, and again the abjad value of the word spider, 579, and it will again be prime. So for my third prime, I'm going to make use, because don't bother the center one first. I just discovered this 10 minutes ago. So the other prime will be, we make use of the first prime again, verse 2941, or the spider verse, which is also the 3381 verse of the Quran, which is also the 3381 verse from start of Quran. So I put 3381. And this 3381 verse from start of the Quran will also be the 2856 verse if from end of the Quran. So we will also put 2856, and as usual we also place 579, the abjad value of the word spider itself, 579. So will this be prime? Of course it will, okay? Because once the number is not a prime, there will be the factor will be divisible by something. For example, if I put the 3381 verse of the Quran is also the 2855 verse from end of the Quran, then it will not be prime anymore because it's divisible by 3 or 21. So I change back to the original one from Allah, from God. So the verse 2941, which is also the 3381 verse of the Quran from start of the Quran, and it is also the 2856 verse from end of the Quran. So the one from God will be prime. And then for the last one, the bottom one, I'm going to put just like the second one, 3381, the 3381 verse of the Quran, 3381 verse of the Quran, which is also the 3381 verse from start of the Quran, which is also the 2856 verse from end of the Quran. So I put 2856. Of course, this will also be verse 2941, or the spider verse 2941. Okay, pattern exactly the same. The one that this and this same pattern this and this same pattern. We only put extra 2856. So 3381 verse from start of the 3381 verse from the start of the Quran, or the 2856 verse from end of the Quran, which is also verse 2941, and the abjad value of the word spider itself, and again it will be prime. So we actually have 4 prime, beautiful prime here. And the latest one I just discovered 10 minutes ago is actually very simple. We make use of the first and second again, verse 2941 or the spider verse. Instead of putting the 3, which is also the 3381 verse from start of the Quran, we will put, okay, because the 33, look on the left, the 3381 verse 2941, which is also the 3381 verse from start of the Quran, it shall also be the 2856 verse from end of the Quran. So instead of putting 3381, okay, so this one will be the same as this one. The only thing is we are going to make use of 2856 verse from end of the Quran. So because 3381 verse from start of the Quran is also exactly 2856 verse from end of the Quran. So same pattern, 2856, and followed by, as usual, 579 also. And of course it will again be prime, because you already know it's a prime here. So the last one naturally will be this one, the 3381 verse of the Quran. 3381 verse of the Quran. So this time I'm going to put I'm sorry. So as in this case, I simply reverse this one, because we see the first and second one here, 2941, 3381, 579, and then we just reverse 3381, 2941. So this one 2941, 2856. So we simply reverse these two again. Okay, that means we simply reverse these two again. Okay, so we reverse 2856. Okay, 2941, 579. So this will also be prime. Okay, let me backspace. This will also be prime, and then this will also be prime. This will also be prime. 6 beautiful prime for you. Okay, since there are already so many prime patterns regarding the only spider verse of the Quran earlier in my 2 previous videos regarding spider. Now please don't tell me that all of these 6 is not something deliberate by God also. Okay, the divine, the most powerful. Okay, that's it for this video. Thank you and peace to all.